Ver bakayım ona. Maymunlar nasıl
Hey, my name is Naima. I'm 28 right now. I grew up with a German mother who grew up in Eastern Germany. And I'm the daughter of an Egyptian father who came here in 1990. And I'm a creative, a poet, and the co-founder of the non-profit organization Roots Berlin. With the non-profit, we create spaces for people of color to come together and in creative ways, in movement, in knowledge sharing, and give them a platform to learn, to grow, to heal, to connect, trying to break down barriers that exist here in this country. With my poetry and my creative stuff, I'm always sharing my vulnerability and the perspective of my eyes, of how I see the world, of how I experience it, of the story I hear from other people when they share their stories with me. Woher ich komme? Ich komme aus einem Garten, Eden, ähnlichem Paradies. Ich bin aus einem Feld von Pfingstrosen, die meine Oma mit Liebe pflegte. Ich komme aus den ewig weiten und gelben Rapsfeldern und den grünen, duftenden Wäldern. Ich bin aus der Blume des Lebens, obwohl ihre Erde vertrocknet schien. Ich bin aus 4 Wänden, geschützt vor Wind und Regen, doch schaue ich gern aus dem Fenster und vermisse die Ferne. Ich komme aus dem Strom des Nils und bin aus der Süße des Honigs und der Frische des Rosenwassers. Ich bin aus dem Roten Meer, welches kristallklar den Horizont anlacht und mich mit seinem weichen und salzigen Tuch umhüllt. Ich komme aus dem Lauten und dem Chaotischen, doch bin ich in der Ruhe geboren. Ich bin aus dem Ich bin müde, ich leg mich hin und dem Papa hat dich nicht vergessen. Ich bin aus dem Dein Bruder muss ins Gefängnis und du schaffst das schon. Ich bin aus den Tränen meiner Mutter und der Versagensangst meines Vaters. Ich bin aus der Stärke in mir und der Neugier, die mich als Kind schon in neue Gewässer trieb. Ich bin aus dem Schmerz, den Männer mir zugefügt haben, und aus der Liebe, die Frauen mir immer und immer wieder schenken. Ich komme aus einem Garten Eden ähnlichem Paradies, aus einem behüteten Ort, nach dem ich mich sehne.
I'm Karya. As of right now, I'm 25. I would consider myself a classical oil painter, but I'm more of a copyist. A copyist is someone who makes copies of old paintings in similar methods and so on. So I don't have that many originals, and some would consider that not an artist or a painter. I come from Turkey, and it has been now almost 6 years in Berlin. I have a hate-love relationship with Turkey. I mean, at the end of the day, it's where I'm from, it's the food that I'm used to. At the end of the day, We are the citizens of the nation and culture we're raised in, but I did have a reason to leave. Perhaps another thing I miss in Turkey is, I don't know if you have noticed, but there is an acknowledgement of arts that are Middle Eastern, Asian, African, South American in those locations and not necessarily outside of them. In Turkey, wood carving is art, calligraphy is art, porcelain painting is art, while in Europe they are mostly crafts and they don't have the same art space. I always found it weird that carpets are simply furniture and paintings are artistic decoration. That's one thing I miss, that artistic appreciation for crafts. I wanted to be an archaeologist and a biologist, and I wanted to write poetry, and I wanted to paint, and I thought I could dance. You know, I had an excitement for everything. It was more of a process of elimination that these things fell out one by one, and eventually art was what was left and what I settled on. On my shelves actually is the little gifts my father has given me over the time. There is the engravings of Achilles' funeral. There is the fossils my father brought me, thinking that one day I might just be an archaeologist of either biology kind or history kind. So I would say that I am lying closer to craft because I don't really have original works, which is where design and concept comes in. And I hope to get to a point where I can create that too. As much as I am Turkish, Turkish Republic didn't really want me. And under those circumstances, I loved the culture. I loved living there, but you do sense you're not wanted, and at that point you have to leave. I guess I could have stayed. A lot of my friends had to stay, but then we live in opposition to ourselves. We live by cutting corners, trying to be invisible. And it is a life, but it's not the life that I found worth living for the sake of staying. There's a bit of survivor's guilt that comes with that. I quite often think back to my friends and wonder if they are going to be okay, if they are going to be finding solutions, making change, or if they're going to cut corners to the point that they're not themselves anymore. But you can't really get them out either. So Turkish Republic in the same time is home, bit of a graveyard, worry for my friends, love for my family, a desire to go back, and uncertainty if it wants me back. What do I really love about Turkey and growing up there? Oh boy. The weather, because if you are someone who was raised anywhere close to Ecuador, and I know the Turkish Republic doesn't really count, but it is kind of close to Ecuador, the weather is significantly warmer and you get used to it. I don't get a sunburn and I don't have to worry about it in the same way most people have to. While in Germany, windy is the default. It's cold, it's rainy, and I feel like people adapt to that with their lifestyles too, from the fashion to the food. Another thing I miss about Turkey is our willingness to create bonds. In Germany, when I first came here, I tried to make baked goods for my neighbors to introduce myself. It's so normal for Turkish Republic. You're in an apartment, the apartment is a small village, you introduce yourself, you ask the neighbor for a cup of sugar, that's normal. While in Germany, people were creeped out and worried and unsure if they can accept the baked goods, if they need to be doing something back, and I learned that being friendly is somehow disturbing. That is one thing I miss about Turkey, that idea that for no reason you can create bonds, for no reason people can be community, that there's no need for justification. The purpose of community is community. I think in Germany, it's a bit more individualistic, and there's benefits that come with that. There's no neighborhood watch that constantly oppresses and judges you. There's no, your neighbors saw you leaving and they let your father know, and even though your father knew, he had to act like he was angry because the other neighbors will judge him otherwise. Neighborhood pressure is a real thing, but the lack of community is also a real thing. I don't know which one I prefer.
Hi, my name is Fernanda. I'm Portuguese. I was born and raised in Portugal. I'll be 47 in 2 weeks' time. I'm a mother of 3.
My name is Idris. I'm a director, filmmaker, and a cinematographer. I'm originally from Nigeria.
Absolutely. Pedro and Cher, as you said, tonight we are hearing from the victim of this violent attack which happened on Friday afternoon here in downtown Long Beach. She tells us she is speaking out to warn other women and also to push for tougher laws to keep criminals behind bars.
I mean, I'm just lucky that it happened in daylight. and not at night, because then I probably would have been raped.
Unaware that a man watching her jumps up from the sidewalk, unzips his pants, and starts following her. Then, within seconds, he pounces, pulling up her skirt, thrusting against her, and knocking her to the ground.
Indeed, we mark International Day for the elimination of violence against women.
Now, the rape survivor, who has become a hero in France, has given her final statement in court. Gisèle Pellicourt says it is time for the macho, patriarchal society that trivializes rape to change.
Women is that the problem is getting worse. India is the most dangerous place in the world to be a woman, according to a report from the Thomson Reuters Foundation.
Isa, perdóname que te interrumpa. Perdóname, es que el sonido es malo, pero ¿te acaba de tocar el culo?
Sí.
First of all, I think to make a documentary like this is very, let's say, complicated, because I don't think a man can talk well enough when it comes to, let's say, women's safety and women's rights or something. But the key important factor here is also a lot of men also has a lot of connection to these stories. And also this is also the reason why when the idea was brought up, I was also kind of interested in taking part in this project and being part of it.
I'm Rita Booker-Solymosi. I'm an intercultural communication coach. With a migrational background, I was born in Romania and raised in Austria. I studied psychology to understand my own family, because we were very, very conflicted. The change of systems, the change of governments, the change of family systems and background broke my parents' heart. Today, I know it's called culture shock.
Let's start from the beginning. I came from a broken family. Mom raised 4 of us with no father. So automatically, the man figure is already missing in the story. So.
Adım Serhat. Psikiyatri uzmanıyım ve Karya'nın babasıyım. Türkiye'den geldim Berlin'e ve Karya'nın bu projesinde yanında olmak istiyorum. O yüzden buradayım.
Calling for the shame to be shifted. Do you think this is a landmark case here in France and we will see change?
I think that this case actually demonstrates one thing, is that we're still in a society that is dominated by male violence, misogyny, and that there's very little to no accountability, individual or collective.
I experienced sexual harassment and abuse a couple of times.
Abuse becomes internalized with relationship, normalized. And if you're not getting much love and attention, you're willing to get it from anywhere. So, someone older noticed that and used that. He treated me very poorly and he took a lot from me and he called it love.
And when I was younger, my elder sister, but then I was really, really young. My sister got raped.
I think projects like this are vital. It is one thing to read about an experience that someone lived through. I think film and other mediums allow you to kind of experience a fraction of that.
Kleine und von der Tomate eine kleine bitte. Darf ich ein bisschen von der Minze probieren? Danke. Hatte ich noch nie. Hier. Danke. Da noch kleine Eiswürfel.
When I was 16, I went through some kind of rough years at high school. I was struggling and I was lucky enough to be able to do an exchange here in Venezuela. It was the best year of my life, I guess. I started loving myself again. I grew a lot. I became a version of myself I wasn't even able I can be. I got new friends, a new family, and on my last day at school, there was a graduation, kind of a graduation party, let's say, where they wanted to honor me and other students for their efforts. I was very happy, but also very sad because it was my last days after this whole year there. And then one professor came up to me and said, "Hey, can you come with me? And I have something upstairs for you." And I went with him. I was very excited. I was like, oh, another gift. Like, I don't know, like a personal moment, which I usually very appreciate. When we entered in the classroom, he pushed me onto the wall and kissed me everywhere and put his whole body on my body. I felt every single part of his body on my skin. He was back then 70 years. I felt nasty. I didn't hit. I couldn't move. And I was just paralyzed. And I was lucky enough that someone walked down the corridor and he stepped back to make sure no one sees it. And I was just running outside, downstairs where all the other people were. And I started crying. And everyone thought I'm just sad because it's my last day. Everyone cried. Back then I didn't have the courage to talk about it. I just shared it with one friend. I didn't want to leave after this whole year of building up my confidence, of collecting so many beautiful memories. I didn't want to leave as this exchange student that got sexual harassed at school from a professor. So I didn't share it with my family. I shared it with the organization to make sure they don't send any other students there. I came back to Germany and I was very confused, broken, of this extreme of the high that I experienced there and one of the deepest lows. And it was this strong, strong sense of injustice and power abuse. I got very angry that he used his power. He used his title. He knew that I would feel kind of intimidated. He knew it. And these power dynamics that played into his decisions, I see them everywhere, like I saw them every day afterwards. And they made me afraid entering in some spaces, at uni, wherever. And yeah, it was a hard time for me to open up to other friends in Germany and talk about it. But no one really had the skills to as well, like, guide me through it.
Forget the words. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free.
Sexual violence and rape remain pervasive issues affecting women globally, transcending cultural, economic, and geographic boundaries. According to the World Health Organization, about 1 in 3 women worldwide have experienced physical and/or sexual violence in their lifetime, often from an intimate partner. This staggering statistic underscores the urgent need for societal change and increased awareness.
Elif ne haber? Dur pardon, senin dilin başka.
İyiyim ya.
Aa, Türkçe biliyor. Güzel güzel.
Balıkesir ayılarından.
Küçükten
başladık beslemeye. Evcil ayı oldu.
Ege günaydın, afiyet olsun.
Zord.
When was the first time you got abused? The very first time I can remember. The very first time. I think I was 6 or 7, and it was my mother. I was meant to go buy some yogurt. On my way there, I stepped on a lizard. I was a child, I had a lot of empathy, I got worried for the lizard, it seemed to be suffering. I picked it up, I ran back home. It's in my hands, I thought I could help it. Money's still in my pocket. And I ran up to my home and my mother looked angry. She looked at me and she said, "You just left." And I don't remember what I said, but I think I lied. I was scared of her. She would yell a lot. And she told me she's gonna call the market and ask if I bought it. It was a small place, we knew each other, so she called the market and confirmed I never went there. She got really angry at me lying, and I think that was the first time I got a proper beating. And I vividly remember that because I was trying not to shake, I was trying not to squeeze my hands. I had the lizard in my hands, so I was trying to stay focused throughout the whole thing, try not to kill the lizard. That's the first time I vividly remember. I don't know if anything happened before that, but I remember being scared of her when she's angry. So I think something happened before that, but I don't have much memory of it. It kind of kept going here and there across the years. It got worse, it got better. But I think fear turns someone into a liar, a soldier, turns you into stone, teaches you how to turn the emotions off, be cruel sometimes. So as it kept going, even if it got worse, I felt like I was less and less affected over the time. At some point I forgot how to cry. I remember being in middle school and thinking crying was a sign of weakness because I didn't cry, no matter what happened. But I guess it was just a part of disassociation, that ability to turn your feelings off further and further and further, because what kind of stress a child is supposed to handle, not that kind. It took me a long while to get that back, to let myself cry, to let myself be afraid, to let myself be angry. I'm better now. If it's any consolence, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not hurting anymore. When I talk about these things, the thing that hurts me is imagining that child. It doesn't feel like it happened to me, but imagining a little child going through that, and there's that strong desire to just go back and hug myself, tell her it's gonna pass, it's gonna be all okay. It's not indefinite and there's a way out. I'm good now, but she wasn't. And I guess I got my empathy back too, for little lizards, pigeons, bugs, other kids. I don't know how many broken winged birds I bring home. I just like to celebrate that. The way it got worse is, so my mom was sick with bipolar. It's hereditary. It's like a family heirloom. You can't get rid of it. That would be rude. You pass it on to your kids too. Great stuff. My mom got bipolar. My mom got a divorce. It got really bad during the divorce. She was destabilized. And as a part of that, we moved away from my dad. So my dad tried to get the full custody of us, but Turkish Republic has internalized sexism in all of its systems, including custody systems. There was a strong belief, no matter what is happening, a mom is the best fit to take care of the kids, even though she truly was not. She wasn't healthy. So my mom got us and she moved away, so far away that for my dad to see me, he would need to travel for 9 hours. He was removed from our daily life and we were left to our mom. She did not get help for a really long while and it got worse and worse and worse. For those who are familiar with bipolar, it has a risk of psychosis. Psychosis makes someone paranoid. It makes them feel like the world is against them, antagonized. And I think that's what happened. She thought we were hostile to her, and it only got more frequent, more violent, and she was not reliable. I learned to listen for the footsteps in the home and be scared of certain rhythms. I learned to hide away in my room and avoid coming home if I can. I learned to draw anger onto myself so it won't be reflected on my brother. He had these big baby eyes. He would cry and they would get dim and I would feel horrible. So I guess I preferred to be the target of everything rather than my brother being there. And during that, like this happened from 8 to 11, 12. And if your only present parent does that, eventually you learn your loved ones, your parents, the people who protect you and care about you, can hurt you.
Öncelikle uzakta bir babaydım. Çünkü benim kültürümde belki dünyada da pek çok yerde böyledir. Boşandığınız zaman çocuklarınızdan da boşanmanız gerekiyor. Biraz beklemem lazım. Benim kültürümde boşandığınız zaman çocuklarınızdan da boşanmanız gerekiyor. Yaklaşık 3 yıldır ayrıydım. Her gün telefonla konuşsak da çok kolay süreçler değil. Çünkü anneleri yaklaşık 11 saat uzakta bir yere taşınmıştı ve zor bir süreçti gerçekten. Bunu öğrenmeden önce annesinin gel kızını al telefonuyla o 11 saati işte 7 saatte falan geçtim. Bir kafeye otur, kızın bekle beni diyerekten. Hukuki süreçler de zordu. Çünkü velayet başka birinde. Almanız, okula yazdırmanız, daha 12-13 yaşında bir kız. Ve benim yaşamımda bir insan var. Ne olduğunu bilmiyorsunuz. Sadece onun tabiriyle yaralı bir hayvan gibi. Hayır, buraları çıkaralım.
In regions like sub-Saharan Africa, the prevalence of sexual violence is alarmingly high, with studies indicating that as many as 36% of women have faced sexual assault. However, these figures are not confined to any one area. In countries across North America, Europe, and Asia, women are equally at risk. For instance, the United States reports that nearly 1 in 5 women have experienced completed or attempted rape in their lifetime, according to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey. The effects of sexual violence are profound and long-lasting, impacting not just the victims, but also families and communities. Victims often face a myriad of psychological challenges, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Furthermore, the economic costs of sexual violence, stemming from healthcare, legal services, and lost productivity, run into billions of dollars each year.
I am from South Africa, and I know that we are notorious for crime, but it's a beautiful country and we have a lot of Ubuntu and we support and respect women. And I believe that that culture can transcend throughout the entire world. And I believe that women's rights are central in building an economy. When women feel safe, when women are protected, when women are nurtured, and when women are given the platform to be themselves and to shine in their essence, I believe the future is brighter for everybody. Always respect women, always put women first, because when you put women first, the world just becomes a much better place.
My name is Salmi Hassan and I come from India. India recently celebrated 76th Independence Day. I just wonder when the women of India are going to celebrate their independence. Let's not talk about Nirbhaya. Let's not talk about Kolkata doctor's case. Let's not talk about those all rape cases which has not been even named, which I don't even want them to be named, but there are many. What is going on? I am here sitting right now with questions. Who are them? Why are they doing this? Where are we lagging? But I don't know whom to ask this question. Does my government has all the tools, all the agencies in place? Where are we? What I personally realized that it is all about the mindset and mindset of the people living there and the education. Why this education, sex education is a taboo still? Why we are not talking about it? Why there is no formal process to educate men and women? I recently learned that from a teacher friend of mine. She said that sex education is in place and we are educating people, but in a different sections. Girls and boys are sitting in a different classes. Where are we heading to? What are we going to achieve with this? I think education and upbringing is a major change that we can look forward for. For instance, I was talking to a male friend of mine and he was telling his story, how he learned about the world, about different culture, how to behave. He said it was his first international trip to Thailand, and once he landed there, he was happy, excited, and he was staring at people. Of course, people with the different dresses, small skirts. But suddenly a voice came to him. His father said not to stare. He was puzzled. He was not sure why his dad is asking that. He went to his mother and asked why Papa is asking not to stare, not to look at people like that. Then mother explained that if you stare at people, they get uncomfortable. And let's not make anyone uncomfortable with the stare. And the day until today, he doesn't stare. A little message, a little change in every act, every movement, every behavior can change the world. Why we are not propagating this? It can go more deeper, but can we start today? educating and asking our questions to the government and also to the society.
I was 17 when I met my ex-husband, the father of my 2 kids. And then, but previous my ex-husband, I had a boyfriend. He was African man. So I'm coming from up north. The mentality is still very close. There's no many African men around. So by that time, we're talking about 30 years ago, yeah, was something extra. So my boyfriend was black, right? In the meantime, relationship didn't work out, fine, we broke up, everybody went on their own ways. So time goes by, I met my ex-husband, nice person, handsome guy. It's a small village, my sister got married, my best friend moved away, another best friend, she got married. I'm just left alone over there. And then these guys just came along, just I don't know from where. But yeah, we start to talk, start to get close. Every day he just passed by, he was working around the house, so he just passed by, just say hello. And I was alone, obviously young girl, I don't know much about life. I didn't know about him, but he seems a nice guy because my heart was broken from the other one. Life. And I start to get close to my ex-husband. We build a friendship and then we start to date. But before we start to date, I had something to tell him very serious because I was no virgin anymore. And I had to tell my husband, I mean my boyfriend, before anything else. He need to know because it was a taboo. A man go for a woman that she's not virgin. So I didn't want him, I couldn't lie. So I was already mature enough to do what I have to do. So I need to be mature enough to tell him that I'm not virgin anymore. So he accepted. Start our relationship. Very close, lovey-dovey, was fine until one day he got upset. For some reason, he starts to be aggressive. Anytime he's been aggressive, I don't know why. I'm trying to calm him down, but he suddenly comes and he say, that black man, I can't believe you lost your virginity with a black man. So that fact that I lost the virginity with a black man was the fact that it was a thing that he could never get over it. I'm young, I still believe in love. And I still believe that his last time that he does that, he touched me. Because I love him too much. Yeah, time goes by again, the guys start to become violent. I always hide. Sometimes I go home with the bruises in my face. I even enter in the house with the lights off. My mom don't see me. In the morning when I go to work, I put makeup and then the things fade. Yeah, it become a normal thing. He beat me and disrespect me and then say sorry. And I will not do it again. I love you too much. I can't live without you. He become a very a routine, something very normal. And obviously, there's no father figure in the house. I don't know what a woman should expect from a man, really. Everything plays a little bit in your life. That's when I look back and I can see things. But that is my story. That is me. That is my pain. I start to accept it, of course. I accept it because I loved him and he said it's the last time. And it was always the last time. And, he wasn't. He never stopped. We got married. Obviously believing in this pink world that Fernando, you're gonna change Pedro. Yeah, because he loved me too much and he can't live without me. He beat me, but he loved me too much. He don't mean it. He don't mean it. He loved me too much. How he can live without me? And that time I couldn't live without him as well. I've been in a relationship with one man before, and again I lost my virginity. So I thought already that I'm not good enough because the taboo was too much. So I'm thinking, I don't know if this man want me. I think he might be the last man in the world who wants me because I'm not virgin anymore. Pedro, every day he needs to go out of the house for his encounters. I'm a young girl at home waiting for him. Obviously, he don't pick the phone. He leave the house, afternoon, come the next day. And then, obviously, I'm gonna question my husband. I'm pregnant, I'm questioning my husband, where are you? And then he start a fight. Something. I'm very traumatized. And yeah, as much as I don't want to talk about it, I talk about it. And it doesn't matter. You can go through, you can go through therapy, you can go through anything. For me, it will always hurt me. It will always hurt me because there's no need for that. So I was married, and one day I had my second child. One was 2 and the other one, she was 5. My daughter, she's been traumatized for the rest of her life because of the father. At the age of 3, she told me if she has a husband, "Mommy, if I have a husband like my dad, I'll run away from the house." Can you imagine a child 3 years old telling you that? Beatrice, she's traumatized. She's damaged good, unfortunately, and I feel very guilty. God, she left him. I should never get married to him. I did.
I mean, in between love bombing, sexual abuse, but it meant that I get to stay away from home. And at the end of the day, that's how I learned love. I didn't question it. I didn't doubt it. I didn't even think that it was abuse because I was told it was love by my mother. It kept going for multiple years. I tried to leave. I got threatened, tried to talk to my mom. She denied it, rejected it, told me to not talk about it, that people would blame me. And it stretched on. Eventually word got out. It wasn't that big of a place. People gossiped, they knew, and I got blamed because whether you're 11 or 12, doesn't matter. Turkish Republic was a place where your virginity was worth more than your consent. When he first came to me, he said he likes me and that we were dating, and he offered me a safe space to stay in his home when my mother was lashing out. And he comforted me when I cried. Over the time, he started asking for things and I didn't want to. So he took me to his bedroom by force. I cried and I trashed and I begged, and he told me, "You're not gonna be able to stop it, so you might as well figure out how to enjoy it." And it just kept happening again and again. I didn't know who else to go. He was the only person who supported me when something happened at home. And I didn't know how to say no because he insisted that this is what boyfriends and girlfriends do. When I started saying I'm gonna leave, he told me that I'm not a virgin, so no one would marry you and no one would want you. And he told me that he would tell my mom. I was scared of my mom, I was scared of him, so I didn't leave. For a long while I stayed around. It didn't end until he got bored. And when he ended it, he told his friends, and they started targeting me too. I think it lasted from 11 to 13 for 2 years. They were in the last year of their high school, and I was in middle school. I remember having my school uniform. I remember bleeding down my legs. I remember crying every time I leave his house, sitting on the pavement and going home completely numb, going into the shower with my clothes on and just sitting there. I remember my mother seeing me enter the home like that and pretending she has never seen anything. I don't know what happened to my mind in those years, but eventually I just started going catatonic, stopped feeling, as if your mind just breaks and you shut down. I don't think I got out of it until I moved in with my dad years later. I think it just kind of sticked. Years later, when I was 19, he called me from a number I don't recognize and told me to make it even with him because he's going to military, he might die, he wants to go to heaven. I talked to him for 3 days on the phone, secretly recording it, trying to get proof because I couldn't sue him before, there was no evidence left. And I moved with nothing but a backpack. When I finally got the evidence, I was tired, I was exhausted, I felt like my past was haunting me. So I gave myself 2 weeks to rest and recover before I call a lawyer in Turkey and try to resolve this. And it is that year, in those 2 weeks, Turkish Republic signed out of the Istanbul Treaty that gives you protection against sexual violence and domestic abuse, and it became uncertain if I could sue him.
İlk öğrendiğimde çok büyük bir öfke duydum. Buna çanak tutan annesine. Bu olayı bildikleri dedikodusu çıktığı halde kızıma destek olmak yerine kızımı dışlayan, ittiren okuluna. Velayet davasını kazanır kazanmaz biri 10, biri 12 yaşında iki çocuğun günlük bakıcısını evden çıkarıp çocukları yalnız bırakan annelerine. Yani herkese çok büyük öfke duydum. Ama sonra daha acil bir dert var. Çünkü daha hala ergen, hala hormon, günlük yaşamın içinde bir sürü sorun var. Yani velayet davası sürüyor, en basit şeyi çözmek sorun. 6 ay içinde kardeşini aldık, onun da çok içe kapanık, hatta beslenme bozukluğuyla aldık. Yani bir sebze yeme takıntısı olduğu için. Yani oğlumu 12 yaşında 8 yaş kıyafetleri giyer bir ayda aldım. Ve işte 2 yıl içinde ayak numarası 32'den 37'ye çıktı. Yani büyüme hızını düşünün. Şu an 1.95 bir herif. Karya da hani her anlamda psikolojik olarak, fiziksel olarak iyi durumda değillerdi. Sanırım bir ebeveyn ya da bir toplum ya da bir aile ihmal ettiğinde her şeyi birden ihmal ediyor. İkinci duyduğunuz duygu suçluluk, pişmanlık. Neyi eksik bıraktım? Neden anlamadım? Nasıl atladım? Bir de bu işi yapan biri olarak biraz daha katmerli, biraz daha yoğun.
So the fact that I wasn't a virgin actually felt like a justification for other people to target me because, well, she has nothing to lose anyway. And eventually I ran away. Around 13, I was being targeted by every scumbag. I did not get protection from my mom. Other adults acted like I was something contagious. They should just keep their children away from me rather than helping me. I was convinced that this was my fault and I was to blame for it. And eventually I started feeling like I was unlovable. So I was getting suicidal. And in one of those nights where I was genuinely contemplating ending everything, genuinely contemplating if I had anything left to lose, I hit rock bottom, truly rock bottom. And it is then, when I had nothing to lose left, I decided to run away. If I'm willing to die, I might as well run away, try to find my dad. My dad happens to be a psychiatrist. When I showed up at his doorstep with a backpack and just asking if I can stay, he sensed something was wrong. First couple of weeks, he realized that I had active lashing out, constantly scared. I was asking for permission to go to toilet. I was thanking for those permissions. He realized that something must have happened, that I'm hesitant and skittish and somehow also having outbursts of violence. And he applied for protective custody for me and my brother. That process took a couple years. My recovery took longer, but he did everything he can in his power, from therapy to legal aid, to make sure that I get back on my feet, and I feel like he's my own little miracle. I'm not sure if I would have been able to make it out of that life with the start I had to life if it wasn't for my dad.
Kısaca özetleyeyim, sonra Karya'yı aldık ve yaşadığım şehirde okula başladı. Fakat son derece hırçındı. Türkiye'de orta son sınıf din sınavında kağıdına kuru kafa çizen, sürekli isyan eden, tam olarak ne olduğunu anlamıyorsunuz ama ne kadar sıkıntılı olduğunu görebiliyorsunuz. Benim işim de bu zaten. Ve o dönemler birlikte olduğum insanın hani rekabetine bağlıyorum kızımla. Bu ayrılığın getirdiği sıkıntılara bağlıyorum. Ergenliğine bağlıyorum. Ailede bir bipolar afektif bozukluk yüklülüğü var. Bunun olabileceğini görüyorum meslek olarak. İlk başlarda bunu çok algılayamadım. Ve o hormonların pik yaptığı bir dönemde ufak tefek erkek arkadaşları oldu. Sadece anlamaya, izlemeye, bu süreci tamir etmeye çalışıyordum ve bir kardeşi de annesinde kalmıştı ve çok korkuyordum. Onu almak için velayet davası açtım ve çok zor bir hukuki süreçti bu. Çünkü oğlum da çok korkuyordu. İlk olan şey, hani bunu Karya hemen söylemedi. Çok sonra söyledi. İlk duyduğunuz şey tabii ki korkunç bir öfke. Annesinin imalarından yaşamına birinin girmiş olabileceğini biliyorsunuz. Yani kızın sokakta, kızın şöyle oldu, kızın böyle oldu gibi. Ama o benim kızım sonuçta. Ama öğrendiğim zaman çok büyük bir öfke. Bu koşulları hazırlayan annesine bir şekilde bunu sezmelerine rağmen bana yansıtmayan okuluna, çevresindeki herkese.
I traveled to Greece, and after all this year, I started like a whole new journey, and I kind of just tried to get not over it, but try to heal in the way how I can heal. And I went to visit a friend in Greece that I didn't really know that long, but I felt good. We were both interested in music and writing and doing creative stuff. He invited me to go back there and to meet him and to produce a song or work together. And when I went there, we had a beautiful time, but then again, I felt this sense of like a power dynamic. I stayed at his place, and we felt that there was a connection. We started making out, and then one thing led to another, and then I realized, but I don't want this. I don't want to sleep with you. I don't feel comfortable. And I said no. And the no wasn't really heard. I tried to say it again, but again I was just paralyzed. I could not move. I was again upset that someone would use, I don't know, I don't even know. Like, why would a friend do that? Why would someone who is so close to you not accept a no? And he forced himself inside of me. It hurt a lot, it hurt for days. I had to stay with him in this apartment. I pretended I'm good. I tried to tell myself, it's not what you think it was. But I was afraid. It was back then, he didn't have Wi-Fi at home. There was no roaming data, like I couldn't reach anyone at home. So I was also very scared, like what happens if I do something, if I really say like, I don't want this, like leave me alone, at this point I didn't know what could be actual outcomes, and to be the safest as possible, I just played along with it and was quiet. And when I got back in Germany, I realized that this was not okay. And this is also called rape. For me, it was hard to accept because a lot of people I talked to, they were like, but did you really say it like that way? Were you clear when you said no? Like, they made me doubt myself, but you know. And I started talking more about it because I felt like a lot of my friends told me similar stories, and it made me so upset that our no's are not accepted or taken serious, and that the outcome also is often belittled. Luckily, I was always a person who would focus on the good things or just push forward, push for change, build new opportunities for friends, strangers, whatever. Like, I always try to have a goal in the future and to work towards it. But in 2020, it all really came back to me, and I really had I just really felt re-traumatized. And I started my healing journey with a therapist. It took me a very long time. Because, finding the right person you can open up to, who understands you, who you connect to, was hard. I went from one therapist for, weekly sessions for a year or half a year, I don't even remember. Went to a coaching therapist, kind of. And until I went to another therapy for half a year. And this was my kind of breaking moment. I realized that the things I have been through have affected me more than I thought, and brought a lot of fears, self-doubt. I hated my body. I felt uncomfortable being, naked. I still do. Not all the time, but I'm afraid a lot of times that something might happen again, and that again I'm gonna be paralyzed.
At the time when my sister got raped, I'm still like a baby. I don't know anything. But what I knew is when she grows, or when I get older and she was married, after our first marriage, she was divorced and then she married again. And for the second time when she married, again, after a couple of years, I just think it lasts maybe 3 to 4 years, and then she divorced. The man, the husband again, okay, I didn't know about the story behind of my sister, like her making the decision to divorce those men after years. And then I had this discussion with her, why are you divorcing your husband, and why do you have to go through all the process and getting to know someone else again? Even though I understand sometimes it might not just work, it might not be the right person. And then she explained to me that when I knew when she was younger, she got raped. And it is not just she got raped, and my sister got pregnant from this rape. And she was around 17 going to 18 years old when that happened. And as at the time when that happened, when she got pregnant, our mom also said, you cannot have a child like this. So my sister has to go through abortion. And this is not to create a balance or to say there is only one way women can talk about some certain topics a man cannot talk about. And this is also the reason why me deciding to be part of this project is also, I know I have a personal connection to it because of my sister, and she even got married the third time and she divorced again because there are still many unsolved issues. Some traumas, some people will be able to overcome them, and some traumas, some people were not able to even think what healing will be like. And at the age of 47, my sister, 47, 48, at the age of 47, 48 or something like that, my sister slept and she didn't wake up anymore. She died. So what I'm saying is, there is no any kind of record of her being sick, of her being, let's say, healed before she passed away. She just died in her sleep like her ancestors. So now, when we look at all of these things, our society, let's just reflect a little bit on what a society could look like. And when we have a woman or a female or a young girl that got raped or abused or got violated by her mother man, so how this will affect the other people around those individuals as well. And the individual, those things affect because of another person's attitude and crime. It also affects other people also. So it spreads out.
This case is a landmark case because not only of the number of defendants that we're seeing, it's also a case that is going to deconstruct the myths of what an abuser is. It's no longer the monster that's waiting for you in the parking lot. It's our brothers, our fathers, people that we love. It's people that come into our homes.
At the age of 29, after every year, I pick my things and go to my mom's house. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I come and cry and tell me that is the last time. You cannot live without me and the kids. And yeah, and every time I go back home. Every time I go back home until 2006. This time around, I'm in my mom's house with the kids. I don't want him anymore. I don't want him anymore. He managed to pick me up, to grab me inside the car, and he took me to the middle of the bushes. He drove 3 hours out of the city. I think I'm gonna die. I was ready to die anyway. Yeah, my kids, they were with his mom. His mom came collect the kids. I went to, that day I took my, he told me my car needed to go to the garage. I went to the garage and it's a field, it's a dark field. I'm just there waiting for to see what's going on. It just came him and the brother and they hooked me up inside the car. They put me inside the car, they forced me inside the car. My ex had a gun with him. I want to run out of the car, obviously. I want to jump on that motorways. Yeah. I would die. So it took me in the middle of the bushes. This man almost killed me. He beat me. He broke my teeth. He broke my teeth with the gun, with this thing of the gun. He just damaged me. Damaged me because I said, I don't want you anymore. I can't live with you. So he forced me to have sex with him. After me, I'm bleeding. My eyes, I can't open my eyes. I'm so much crying. The man had sex with me inside the car in the middle of the bush. I was bleeding. I couldn't even feel my lips. They are so swollen because I broke my teeth. It took me to the house. He came in the house for 4 days. The kids inside his mom's house. This is just one of the things got me through so much. This is one of the things that, come on, that is the last drop. This was like September 2006. This guy damaged me, took me to the dentist. I didn't say nothing will happen. He said to the dentist I fall when I was coming out of the bath. And I didn't say nothing. What am I gonna do? They put whatever it was there. My teeth, the front teeth are broken. Yeah. So after that day, I said to myself, I kill him, or he's going to kill me. So I need to run.
And I started talking to my mother again after everything that happened. Even those relationships are being healed. It did take more than a decade, but it does get better. When it comes to support systems, sometimes if you were in a situation like me where a nation is not built to support you, sometimes what you find is other people who understand, other people who have been through similar things. Sometimes you find them online, sometimes you find them in your neighborhood. If there's nothing, then there are people. 2 people is stronger than 1. To be able to talk to someone is something to begin with. If there's nothing, there's community. Seek people.
I'm Ross. I live in the UK and I'm currently working as a writer and producer in the science field. How did me and Carrie meet? We met online as 2 rather, I think, isolated teenagers, and we've just kept talking ever since. I think it's over a decade now, and we go back and forth about how many years it's been. In retrospect, what was it like to grow up in a place with so much security? I find that a really interesting question. The UK is relatively safe. There is a lot wrong here too. We definitely have a lot of security in the sense that, you know, we're observed. There are more cameras here per mile than I think any other country. But there are definitely issues here too, you know. I think if you stand out, sometimes you will not have the best time. It's, I mean, personally, I'm kind of that nice middle ground height where it wouldn't be bad to get punched, it wouldn't look bad for someone to punch me at a bar, but it would also be relatively easy. And yeah, I think what's kind of the key difference between security as a male versus as a female in this country is it is always the men. It is always typically the men enacting the violence on the other person. It is not that men are facing violence from women. That very rarely happens. It's very typically a man is attacking a woman or a man is attacking a man, and that the masculinity culture here is complex to say the least. I never really quite blended with the whole get into football thing, and kind of just progressed from there. I'm very comfortable as who I am these days, but back then my differences definitely isolated me.
When people say rape, if you have not been through it before, there's a tendency to imagine it from things you are familiar with. We are all familiar with sex. So people imagine a violent version of sex, but that's not what it is. I have scars in between my inner and outer labia that after 13 years still tear sometimes and bleed. The act of someone forcing something into your body against your will with no preparation, 15, 20, 30 minutes straight until you bleed, that's a form of torture, not sex. And it leaves you a certain kind of broken. You have nightmares. For the following decade, your body turns into a minefield. Every part of your body that has been touched aches with the memory of the fear. And as you shower, as you hug your friends, as you get close to people, as you learn to love and be loved again, it echoes and echoes and echoes through the years. That is not sex. It breaks you in ways you didn't think a person could be broken. But it doesn't make sense, especially if it happened when you're young. There is no way of understanding how something so cruel can happen without a good reason, so you blame yourself. You believe that you must have done something or deserved this, and you know what? People tell you deserved it. There's unfortunately a tendency to blame the victim, and it makes more sense to your brain that injustice doesn't happen, you must have done something. Healing comes with the acceptance that what happened to you is not your fault, it's not something you did, it is something that happened to you, something did to you and you didn't deserve it. And there's sometimes no fair or just explanation to that. Healing doesn't come with just making it right. Justice works to prevent it in the future, justice doesn't work to settle the case.
I link with someone back home. There's someone who knew my story, and then I said to them, to this girl, one day I was talking to her, and then she knew that I was suffering, and then she said, if you want to go, just let me know. I have someone in the UK that she can help. Girl, that was my day. What I did was was beautiful. For 2 months I had my mom back. I bought bags, suitcases. So for 2 months, every week I'm putting these things in a suitcase for me and the kids, for kids anyway, for 2 weeks, no, 2 months. So I bought a ticket for me to run away with the kids. I bought a ticket for December 2006, 31st. So I bought the tickets to come on a bus because the kids, they need the father authorization, and obviously he will not give me authorization. So I just bought the kids the bus. So we came by bus. But before we came, in the night, in a week that I knew that I had the tickets, I have everything ready. I was just waiting for that time for me to run, escape from my life, me and the kids. So on that week, I got medication to sleep. I went to pharmacy, someone that know me. I said, listen, you need a prescription. I said, I don't have the time, what not. So the girl, she gave me that shit anyway. So I said something strong. Monday, I give him one medication, one pill, and the guy is still going out to his own shit. On Wednesday, I give him 1.5 because the guy need to rest, the guy need to sleep for me to run away. So on that day, on Wednesday, he got calm, he didn't leave the house, he was tired. Yeah, on Wednesday. So Friday I have to go. Friday night is my day. So this is winter. I put 2 pills I mash it very well with hot water, just to dilute very well. I went to get lemon, because he loved lemon. So I got lemon, I squeezed 2 lemons. Lemons, they are, and then I put sugar. So when this guy came, when I hear the car, when this guy came, I done it already. Well, the juice is there, ready for him with the milk. Was the best decision ever in my life. I give him the juice. After 5 minutes, my guy is sleeping. I say, yeah, Beatrice is ready, Zé is ready. Beatrice is ready inside the bed, dressed with the shoes, ready for us to go at the age of 7. My little warrior. Yeah. So I walk the guy to the bed, because when you are you're not sleeping like 100%, but if you wake up, I took the guy to bed. I wait for 5 minutes. Obviously, I have to call him to see if the guy is awake, because the car that I'm running away is one of the sportive cars and make noise, and I have to reverse and go in a distance. I'm scared of, I'm reversing, the guy just come behind me. Everything was possible. So I put him to bed. I wait 5 minutes, I call him, I shake his back, he's snoring like a Harley Davidson. So I said, yes. I said, Beatrice with the shoes, clothes, dressed with a jacket, in the bed, covered, pretending that she was sleeping, until the father sleep for us to run away. I picked the little boy and we're gone. I left my ring on the table, and I wrote a letter. I told him, the moment that you wake up, my trauma, my kids' trauma is finished. And it did finish. It did finish. I left him. Yeah, of course. That's the only solution.
Now, one of my biggest aims was to open up to my family. These things happened years ago. I never told them. I never told my mom. I never told my dad. And I always saw their struggles. I saw how hardworking they are, how much they do, how much work they do, how much care they give in the ways how they can give it, so that I can live a good life, a life where I can be free and create. And I just always wanted to protect them. I felt like if I tell them, they'll be hurt. And I didn't want them to be hurt. And yeah, so I protected everyone else around me and didn't tell my story. But I realized this year that my biggest success would be to break these intergenerational gaps, to talk to my parents about it. And maybe with being this little bridge from this generation, I give them a chance to open up too. I don't think they grew up in a society where they'd be able to talk about mental health. I don't think they grew up in cultures where there's an openness about it. There's shame, there's silence. You want to keep everything inside the family. You don't want that other people know about your family struggles. But I truly think I can only be free if I am unapologetically me in these situations. And my experience make me whole, and I want to give them a chance to see my wholeness and maybe inspire them to open up to their friends as well, or to talk more about it. And I hope this leads somehow into a life where everyone just listens a bit more and really listens without responding immediately, and to share stories that we all carry, and then become eventually more compassionate, which also leads then to maybe we understand more the dynamics of these structures of this world and the systems that we might have to dismantle. What can be our role in it? And I think my role is to just be vulnerable and share my story and trying to listen to what other people have to say.
Despite the alarming prevalence and consequences of sexual violence, many cases go unreported due to stigma, fear of retaliation, and a lack of trust in law enforcement.
So it tends to happen here with government organizations or nonprofits related to the government, is that if you decide to, let's say, if it's in the case of harassment or physical harassment or assault, what would happen is you would file a case called a mahdur at the police, and then the person that it's against will be informed, or he's either there. Usually you can pay the police off to give you the person's address. So like if it's a guy and he harassed a woman, what would happen is that he could get her address, and then his family start harassing her, they get their number, and it's like very complex. So a lot of cases tend to go unreported.
This silence perpetuates a culture of impunity where perpetrators are rarely held accountable for their actions. Addressing sexual violence and rape is not just a women's issue. It is a human rights issue that demands collective action from all sectors of society. We must advocate for comprehensive legal frameworks, support services for survivors, and educational programs aimed at prevention to create a safer world for women and girls everywhere.
Ve bu çok konuşulmalı ve bu liseden itibaren, ortaokuldan itibaren eğitilmeli. Gerçekten tacizle ilgili eğitim çok ciddi anlamda hem çocuklara verilmeli ortaokulda, lisede, hem de bu konudaki aslında en uyanık olacak kişiler öğretmenler, belki o çocukla direkt temas edenler. Bunların çok ciddi eğitilmesi lazım. Ve bunun artık ahlaki bir süreç olmaktan çıkıp, yargılayıcı bir süreç olmaktan çıkıp, gerçekten çocuğun menfaatine ne yapabilirize dönmesi lazım. Bundan utanıldığı için, sürekli gizlendiği için yayılıyor. Aslında bizim korkularımızı, bizim utancımızı kullanarak çocuklarımıza zarar veriyorlar. Bu bitmeli. En kısa zamanda bitmeli. Bunun tek yolu daha çok konuşmak. Ne yapılacağını tam olarak bilmiyorum. Yani size şu reçeteyi çıkaramam. Ben sadece bir baba psikiyatristi alanda biriyim ama tek yolu var: konuşmak, apseleri açmak, daha çok konuşmak, daha çok konuşmak, daha çok tartışmak. Başka bir yolu olduğunu düşünmüyorum.
For my whole life, I've fought for healing and for inner peace, not just for myself, but also for my parents. What I would like to say today is how healing can actually happen, how culture shock can be prevented, and I can say that there is life after healing. There are many different ways to find your own path into becoming whole again, because that is the definition of health. But what if the system that you came out of, the family system, was never whole in the first place? And now you've even changed systems. How will you ever know what is whole, what is healthy, what is normal? So many people struggle for medication, for alternative medicine, for holistic approaches, disregarding the context, disregarding the societal influence. If your identity is not only based on your name and the place you were born, and maybe the name of your father, what is it really based on? If you are born with developmental trauma, if you are born with minor little, let's say, inconveniences that are completely invisible to the world other than to yourself, you will fight for recognition, you will fight for your identity, you will fight to be heard, to be seen, to be understood, to belong. But there's no reason to despair, there's no reason to give up, because complete healing is possible and there is life after healing. And that's what I like to encourage people, especially when they come to my association. which I called Permission for Self-Healing. Permission for self-healing is the point in your consciousness after learning about all the therapy methods, after going through all the workshops, through all the healing processes, trusting the process, and discovering that books are not therapy, that people who try to help you can't really grasp what it is you're really trying to say. So you have the duty to translate everything for your own needs. You have the duty to sit back and look at all the resources you have and say, I already have everything and know everything that's good for me or not so good for me. Now it's up to me. I give myself permission, final step into healing, and be done with it. I want to be done with it, and I want to celebrate life, and I want to look around and reconnect with everybody and reconnect with the purpose of my life, and even if it's only to end the generational trauma of my family.
Wohin ich gehe? Ich gehe dorthin, wo ein Miteinander größer ist als nur ein Ich. Dort, wo alle etwas weniger wollen, so dass wir alle etwas mehr haben. Dorthin, wo ich meinem Baba sage, dass ich mich manchmal alleine fühle. Dorthin, wo meine Mama und ich uns in den Arm nehmen und Verständnis zeigen. Ich gehe dorthin, wo ich nie aufgebe. Dorthin, wo die reinste Version meiner selbst frei durch die Straßen fliegt, zusammen mit der Freiheit der anderen. Ich gehe dorthin, wo die endlose Kraft durch Community erblüht. Dorthin, wo weniger Neid uns alle erfolgreich werden lässt. Dorthin, wo dein Scheitern nicht meine Chance ist. Ich gehe an einen Ort, wo sich unsere Unsicherheiten nicht hinter ernsten Gesichtern und Reife verstecken. Einen Ort mit weniger Lügen und mehr offenen Herzen. Ich gehe dorthin, wo sich der Zeiger wieder nach vorne dreht und ich nicht länger in der Vergangenheit schwebe. Dankeschön.
I hope. I'm sorry. I hope to define myself in a way that even if I tell my story, people will not look at me and remember me as the girl who got raped. I was scared of it. At first, you're scared of telling your story because it hurts you, and then you're scared of telling it because it defines you. That's how people remember you. But I'm working towards my values. I want education free for all. And as I write my story, as I do what I can with my life, I will leave behind something so much more valuable than another tragedy. Please find that thing that means so much to you and work towards it. You will not be defined by a tragedy, but by your triumphs. And that is so much more than anything anyone could have done to you. So decide what you want to leave behind. Not just the story, but an achievement, but a life. And go for it. You can do it, no matter what has happened.
What can be our role in it? And I think my role is to just be vulnerable and share my story and trying to listen to what other people have to say.
sad as well. I just wanted to say, what about
educating and asking our questions to the government and also to the society. I hope for the better improvement.
Give it up.
I lost it. No, I can conclude better. I lost it in between.
So decide what you want to leave behind. Not just the story, but an achievement, but a life. And go for it. You can do it, no matter what has happened.
Come here, bring it.